First, I need to make sure to enable Bluetooth and pair my phone to the Monster Pro. Here you can see it's already paired, so I can just go to the Geekbytes app. Here it takes a minute to load it. Here are going to be the different console types that you can use, and also we'll see if it's updated. You can go to the eye icon to see the device options. Here we can compare the current and the latest version and upgrade it if needed. On the About section, we will see the version of the app, and then you can also find some tutorials to connect. And some frequently asked questions as well. Here I will select PC as I'm using a PC. The short cable goes to the PC and then the mouse and keyboard connected already. Here I can see the 4 onboard configs that I can have on the device. I can toggle them on and off from the app. To add a new config, I can hit on the plus icon and then tap add. Easy peasy. When I open it, I will be greeted by the information, which is in this case the game settings. I'm going to make a quick change here. And then it's going to save it. Back here is on the slot number 4. I can also add a config from scratch by using the plus icon and giving it a name. As I already have 4 loaded, if I try to activate a new one, I'm going to need to select which one to replace. You can also use the hotkeys Alt F1 to F4 and you can swap between them without your phone. Each config has an information page, which is going to have nothing if it's a custom, and it's going to also have a menu for the lights that is going to be showing when that config is active. So you can have a few presets or edit, and then it's going to swap the colors every time you swap a config. I can unlock the sensitivity to move each one independently, and I also have a smoothness, VET-Sun, simulation, which is this, humanization pretty much, and then advanced settings. Here I can show the simple curve, just one slider, and then the expert curve is going to have 4 points that you can move around or also change its position with numbers. Make sure to hit right every time you make changes. I can enable here the aim boost by selecting open and then high, and it's going to shake the camera to have more AA, but this is too strong. I do a custom one and then I select a faster speed, lower MS. This should track when it's moving without me moving the mouse. You will need a classic curve here on Apex to make it work fine. I can turn it off by using close. And and I also have the option of only ADS and hip fire. The ADS mode isn't going to do much, it's just going to set what key and what mode is going to use for other stuff, and the rocker is just going to set the joystick at 50% with the trigger, which helps for running or driving stuff, right? Not for FPS. Create your own bindings, it's pretty easy. Here we have the default mapping. And then I can hit plus, tap on the key to get the list of different buttons. You can give it a name. I can assign it to K. And then I can also do rapid fire and select the speed here. And here we have the flex map. This is going to allow us to send MNK and button input at the same time. The office mode is going to toggle completely native MNK. You can select a bind for it. Here I'm toggling between them and it's going from controller to MNK. We also have toggle keys. Here you can see tab is going to swap between the two of them. So you can go to inventory and out. Then caps lock is going to only go to control, and ESC is only go to MNK. ESC also will go only if you press it for 200 milliseconds. Disabling flex map is going to disable the switches and the direct buttons. Those direct buttons will send a native MNK, like 1 or 2 to swap. It will send them when flex map is on and at the same time as roller info. Dual channel supposedly will have both direct and roller, but I'm not sure.
I ought to grab an upgrade.
Back at the config section, you should be able to see how to share them and import them. At the bottom, I also have mouse shaking or jitter. I can enable only when ADS or only up hip fire or always open or close. I can set up a toggle key and have frequency and range, and also the last one is the pull down. Here you can see disable and the slash key to toggle on. And lastly, we have the smart rocker. This is pretty much combos for recoil control. I can here create a new one and then give it a name. I choose a selection keybind and then increase the density to higher than your magazine. Since I have 25, I'm going to set up to 30. You can record then the full magazine. I missed one bullet, recording again. Here I can select a segment or hold and select multiple. And then using the arrows below or just dragging the points, you can adjust the strength of each bullet. When you start the test, you will see a green bar that goes from left to right. That will let me know how much of the magazine I have used. I can go through the segments then and adjust the movement on X and Y on each one. I can select multiple and update them at the same time. You can also increase or decrease the sense compensation if you import a macro, so you can adjust it to your sense. Here I realize I have jitter on, so I disable it. Back on the macros screen, then you will be able to see a new macro. I can then press the number 1, which is the first slot, and the O at the same time to assign that macro to the first bind. I can then press the number 2 and another key bind to select another macro for the second bind. Here we have some settings as a toggle on and toggle off, and then also a bind to switch between them. You can leave a comment for the type of curve it's going to use. And then you can also export and import with a code.